Jason wasn't supposed to fall in love. Not again. Not after everything he'd been through. But then came Amara, a soft-spoken woman with fire in her eyes and a mystery in her smile. He met her on a rainy afternoon at a charity event in Abuja. She wore a simple white dress and held a book in her hand, not a phone. That alone made her different. Their connection was instant. Conversations flowed like they'd known each other forever. She laughed at his dry humor. He listened to her stories like they were poetry. By the second week, Jason had deleted all his dating apps. By the third, she had the spare key to his apartment. She didn't talk much about her past, and he didn't push. After all, everyone has things they'd rather leave behind. What mattered was the present, their slow mornings, her voice humming in the kitchen, the way she whispered his name like a prayer. But there were small things. She never let him meet any of her friends. Her phone was always on silent. She'd disappear for hours and return with vague excuses. Sorry, I was helping someone. Still, Jason told himself love requires trust, and Amara, she had a way of making him forget everything else. She made his broken heart believe again. Then one night, while she was asleep beside him, her phone lit up. Jason didn't mean to look, but one name flashed on the screen in bold, Uncle Jonah, do not answer. And below that, a message. You can't keep running forever. You know what you did. Jason stared at it. His throat dried. He turned to Amara, who lay peacefully beside him, her breath steady, her arm draped across his chest. Who was Uncle Jonah? And what exactly had Amara done? Jason couldn't sleep that night. He lay still, listening to the soft rhythm of Amara's breathing beside him, but his mind wasn't calm. It replayed that message again and again like a haunting echo. You can't keep running forever. You know what you did? What had she done? The next morning, over breakfast, Jason watched her carefully. Amara laughed at something he said, sipped her tea, and asked if he'd seen her missing scarf. She looked completely normal, completely innocent. But now, Jason was seeing things differently. He asked casually, "Hey, who's Jonah?" Someone texted last night, looked important. Amara froze, just for half a second, but he saw it, the twitch of her eye, the way she blinked twice before answering. "Oh, just my uncle," she said, forcing a smile. "He's dramatic. He always says weird things to scare me. Ignore him." Jason nodded. Right. But he didn't ignore it. That afternoon, while Amara was out running errands, Jason picked up her phone from the table. It was locked, but he'd seen the pattern she used before. It opened. He scrolled through her messages with Jonah. Most of them were deleted, but one thread remained, marked from 2 weeks ago. Jonah, you lied to everyone. They buried her because of you. Jonah, you think you can pretend to be someone else, but I know the truth. Jonah, if he finds out what really happened in Enugu, it's over. Jason's blood ran cold. Buried her? Pretend? Enugu? He didn't know what to think. His mind searched for answers, but the pieces didn't fit. At least not yet. He took a screenshot, sent it to himself, and quickly locked the phone again before Amara returned. When she walked in, she kissed his cheek and smiled. Missed me? Jason smiled back. But now, behind that smile, lived a seed of fear. Jason couldn't get the name Enugu out of his head. That night, after Amara fell asleep, he sat in the living room, laptop open, scrolling through every news archive, forum, and police report he could find tied to Enugu and anyone named Amara. At first, nothing. Then, he found it. A 2-year-old article. Mysterious death of university student sparks investigation in Enugu. He clicked. The photo was old, grainy, but the face of the girl in the article had a striking resemblance to Amara. Same jawline, same smile. The name? Amara Njoku. But the article didn't say she died. No, the dead girl was someone else, her roommate. The headline was misleading. Jason read, "Authorities say Amara Njoku, 24, survived a fire that claimed the life of her roommate, Chika Odenigbo. Though foul play was suspected, no charges were filed. Witnesses reported a heated argument between the two earlier that week. Amara was released after questioning and has since moved away." Jason stared at the screen. A fire? An argument? She never told him any of this. Was she hiding a tragedy or hiding her guilt? The next day, while she was out, Jason called a friend in Enugu, an old journalist named Toby. He sent him the article and asked, "Do you know this case?" Toby called back minutes later, his voice low and serious. "You're dating her?" "Yes." Toby went silent, then said, "That girl disappeared right after the fire. No family, no forwarding address. People said she changed her name, vanished. But there were rumors." "What kind of rumors?" Toby's voice lowered. "That she set the fire. On purpose." Jason's throat went dry. "Are you ready to find out the dark secret Amara's been hiding all along? Subscribe now and hit the bell icon, because what comes next will leave you breathless." Jason couldn't focus. He sat in a cafe the next day, his untouched coffee now cold, replaying every word Toby had said. She set the fire. On purpose. He didn't want to believe it. Not about Amara. Not about the woman who made pancakes on Sundays and cried during movies. But everything was pointing in one direction. And the scariest part? She never told him anything. That night, when Amara got home, Jason watched her quietly. She walked in humming, took off her heels, and asked what he wanted for dinner. He finally asked, "Can we talk?" She paused, reading his tone. "Of course." Jason sat across from her at the table. "I found something. About you. About Enugu." Silence. Amara blinked. "What do you mean?" "I know about the fire, Amara." Her breath caught. "I know about your roommate, about the rumors." She stood abruptly, her voice sharp. "You went digging into my past?" "I had to," Jason snapped. "You never told me anything. Do you realize how crazy that is? To find out through a news article that the woman I love might have killed someone?" Amara stepped back, her eyes wide, trembling. "You don't know what happened." "Then tell me," he said. "Now." She looked away, her chest heaving. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then, softly, she spoke. "It wasn't an accident," she whispered. "But it wasn't what you think either." Jason froze. "What do you mean?" "She tried to kill me first." Jason's world tilted. "She tried to kill you?" he echoed, his voice barely above a whisper. Amara nodded slowly, eyes glossy. "We were roommates, best friends once, until I found out she was using my name to borrow money from people, scamming them." Jason stared at her, silent. "She'd stolen from me too. Lied to everyone about who she was. I confronted her. That night she snapped." Amara took a deep breath, her voice cracking. "She drugged my tea. I felt dizzy. My body went numb. I remember lying on the floor, unable to move, and watching her pour something from a bottle onto my bed. Alcohol, maybe." She swallowed. "She lit a match." Jason sat frozen. But something went wrong. The fire spread faster than she expected. She panicked, ran. I crawled toward the door, coughing, burning, and passed out just before the firefighters came. Jason whispered, "And no one believed you." Amara laughed bitterly. "I had no proof. She was dead. People only saw the headlines. 2 girls, one survived. And everyone assumes the worst." She looked him straight in the eye. "I didn't run because I was guilty. I ran because I was scared. Scared of being blamed. Scared of being forgotten as the villain." Jason rubbed his face, the weight of her story crashing into him. He wanted to trust her. But how could he be sure? "I don't know what to believe anymore," he confessed. "Everything feels like a lie." Amara reached for his hand. "I know, and I don't blame you. But please, look me in the eye and ask yourself, do you think I'm capable of murder?" Jason looked up, and he didn't know the answer. The silence between them felt louder than any scream. Jason stood by the window, watching cars pass in the distance, while Amara sat still, waiting, bracing herself. He turned, finally, his face unreadable. "I believed in us," he said, "in what we had. You gave me hope again." Amara blinked, nodding slowly. "But now, I don't know if I'm strong enough to carry someone else's ghosts." Her lips parted. "I never asked you to." Jason stepped forward. "No, you didn't. But love always comes with luggage, Amara. Yours is just heavier than most." Amara held his gaze, her voice low. "So what now?" He exhaled deeply. "I need time, space to think, to decide if I can walk forward with this truth, or if it'll always pull me backward." She didn't beg. She didn't cry. She simply nodded. Jason picked up his coat, looked around the apartment they had built together, then back at the woman who changed everything. And he left. That night, Amara sat alone. No music, no light, just her truth, and the echo of the door closing behind him. But was it over? Or was it just the beginning of something real? If someone you loved deeply revealed a haunting secret from their past, would you stay and fight for them, or walk away to protect your peace?